Hey, welcome to Ergo Everything, where we discuss RSI solutions for computer users. Today we're looking at the RollerMouse Red. It's a mouse that I've had for about 2 years. I got it pretty far into my RSI, and it didn't end up working out for me, but I actually think it would work out for a lot of people. So we're going to discuss it. First, we're going to go over how it actually works, because it's a really weird keyboard or mouse, and you can't necessarily tell just by looking at it. And then we'll discuss ergonomic pros and cons, and you can kind of see if it's right for you. Alright, so the mouse is designed to sit in front of your keyboard, and then you put the keyboard here. I currently have a Kinesis Advantage 2, which is not really compatible with this, so you're not going to see the keyboard here. It also has these little attachments that you slide them in, and then it provides a surface for you to put your keyboard on. So depending on the height of your keyboard, you can get the perfect height to fit with your RollerMouse Red. So you can do this, or it has a little fold-up feature, so if you have a really flat keyboard, you can get it to line up just so. It's designed to work with a keyboard that has the 10 key on the side, and that's why these buttons are kind of like off to the side a little bit. And it's basically designed so that you can use this as a wrist rest, and then you type up here. So it is designed, because it goes in front of your keyboard, it's designed to be used with both hands. So you can either use both your fingertips like this, or if you've got your hands on the home row, you can actually use your thumb to mouse a little bit too, but you can't move quite as far and as fast that way. And then pretty simple, if you want to move your cursor left and right, you move the bar back and forth, and if you want to move the cursor up and down, you roll it up and down like this. And it's actually incredibly intuitive. I didn't have any issue learning how to use it. It was like day one I could use it. It's also really easy to get very accurate precision, almost as close as like a trackball. Then you can click by either pushing down on the bar, and you can, if you look at the manual, you can change the force required to click, and also you can change the volume of the click sound that it will make. I don't actually have it plugged in, so it's not making a click sound. You can also click with these buttons down here. If you want to right click, you do have to use this one. You can't press on the bar. It does have a built-in double button, which I really like. It also has a copy and paste, which is nice. The real big downside, though, is that it doesn't let you remap these, which would be really nice to do. It has a really high DPI, and you can change the sensitivity by pushing this button, and it'll let you go through 10 different settings. This is also like the nicest scroll wheel I've really ever had on a mouse. And then another feature I like about it is that it has a built-in little compartment for the dongle, because it is wireless. And the charge will last like, honestly, a month or two before you have to recharge it, using it full time at work. And it's really great. If you want to charge it, the little hole is over here. You do have to use the charger they sent with it, because a lot of others just won't fit in this little slot, even if it's the right type of USB. Alright, so that's how it works. Now, ergonomic pros. One is that you just naturally are inclined to use it in a way that's ergonomic. So to move back and forth, it's really intuitive to move with your shoulders and not your wrists. I never even thought to like move my wrists. That just doesn't seem right. So you just end up using your shoulders, and then you use your fingertips when you're going up and down. And those are both really ergonomic motions. Also, you're just always using both hands, so you're kind of dividing the labor between both of your monos. Additionally, because you don't have to grip a mouse and move it around, that can create a lot of strain in your hand that you don't even realize. But just being able to just kind of like glide over reduces a lot of strain, and that's really good for your hands as well. Another pro is that because this sits in front of your keyboard, you don't have to reach off to the side to get to the mouse, and that can really save your shoulder.
Now, there are some ergonomic downsides. The biggest one for me is I have issues with my wrist extensor muscles. And so,
Having to like hover the hands over this mouse or over a keyboard is not good for me. Honestly, most computer users don't seem to have any issues with this, so I wouldn't worry about it personally unless that's something you've encountered before. You can also run into issues if you have multiple monitors. You can only go so far back and forth, and if you're using a separate mouse, sometimes you'll encounter a situation where you're trying to go to the right and you end up hitting the edge, but your cursor hasn't hit the edge of the screen yet. It'll just automatically bump to the edge of the screen, and then suddenly it's like recalibrated. That's not really an issue. But I do want to point out that you can really only use like 2 regular sized monitors comfortably. I had 3 monitors, and I ended up putting one of the monitors below the other 2 because I didn't have any issues going up and down. You can, scroll up and down indefinitely. But that is a limitation to be aware of. Another ergonomic downside is that this mouse doesn't provide any tilt, so your hand has to be like completely flat, completely pronated to use it. And the common ergonomic advice is to have your hand closer to a handshake. So that's where we get the vertical mice, which are terrible to use, but in principle, have your hand more in that handshake position. And a lot of keyboards will be tilted. That does bring me into like the biggest downside really, is that this is not super compatible with a lot of ergonomic keyboards. If you have like a keyboard that has like a roundedness to it, like the Sculpt keyboard, that's not going to work. It's not going to match up with it perfectly. If you have the Kinesis, it already has a wrist rest, so it'll force you to reach for the keyboard because it'll be too far back on your desk, and then that'll cause you to like roll your shoulders and get in a hunchback position. If your keyboard has tilt, it's not going to line up perfectly. If you have 2 separate keyboards, if you have the split keyboard, it won't match up great.
now, unfortunately, this mouse is $265. Of all the physical mice that I've tried that you actually like use with your hands, I feel like this one is the best. And if you don't have the same issues I do with like hovering your hand over the mouse or over the keyboard, then I think it could be a really good option. I think everyone should try to use keyboard shortcuts as much as they can, but there's certainly applications where you have to use a mouse, especially if you're doing something like photo editing, something creative. And I think this can be a really great option for that. I do want to throw out there that um, if you already have a split keyboard or you're interested in getting like a special ergonomic keyboard, I would consider instead of getting this, getting a trackball. And if you use a trackball with both hands, it really ends up having a lot of this exact same ergonomic benefits that this does. And the trackball I use is $30, which is a lot cheaper than this. It's a really beautiful mouse. It's really well made. Like the materials are very nice. They do have a cheaper version that's like their travel version. I haven't tried it. It's like $175, which again is still a lot of money for a mouse. But really, whether this will be a good solution for you is totally dependent on like your situation and your health. But I wanted to throw that out there so you know what your options are. I will catch you next time.